Hello guys, good morning. How are you doing today? Hope you had a nice, good sleep. I just made myself something to eat, so let's talk about something interesting. I really like how there is a connection between a psychology and astrology and zodiacs, right? Like how we are talking that people have multiple traits, multiple characters in psychology, but we are also talking about how we have different planets in astrology, right? And this is all connected, especially when you realize what some of these things mean. For example, in astro we have planets, right? We have main planets. We have our sun sign, we have our moon sign, we have our rising, and we have our Mars sign. These are our main four planets, right? And what do they represent? Our sun sign represent our character, how we express ourselves, how we take the world. For example, I'm Libra. My character is all about understanding others, feeling others, right? There was actually a quote, a proverb from Native Americans, how everybody has three different faces, three different characters, right? And we can see that in multiple cultures, even in Japanese, right? And all this actually originates from astrology too, right? Because we have sun sign, we have moon sign, and we have rising sign, and we have others like Mars sign. Mars, for example, represents our will, our actions, right? When you talk to yourself, that is basically your Mars sign, right? It's actually very interesting, and this is, I think, the fun thing about astrology and psychology. It allows you to learn about yourself and understand things, and when you understand something, you let it go, you start to improve yourself, right? And it's also very fun to actually make those connections from psychology to astrology to physical to spiritual, right? For example, in our bodies we have 7 major glands, right? And but we also have 7 major chakras, right? And it's basically the same thing. One is physical expression and other is spiritual expression, if you say so, right? This is also a form of a duality, right? If you have a duality, everything is duality, right? If you are too much in your head, you need to work on being more grounded. Be like a tree, have strong roots, so you can have a strong crown. Okay, so I have a picture here that tells you that. Let's see. And there are some interesting Facebook sites like Astro Cherry or Milkway Astrology that really, you can really learn, especially, what sign the current moon is, right? The moon is affecting us all. Now it was, I think, Capricorn, and we're also workaholic, right? For example. So Native American. Everybody has three different faces, three different characters, right? And this actually we can all connect with astrology too, right? Because we have three different main planets. We have sun sign, moon sign, and rising sun. And our sun sign is how we express ourselves, how we project into the world, how we learn, right? Our moon sign is basically our heart, and we don't show our heart always, right? You have to feel good with somebody, then you can express your heart, and this is your moon sign. I'm Gemini moon, for example, and I tend to overthink stuff. It's hard for me to be grounded. I'm very creative, very playful, right? Then also my rising is my Sagittarius. This is basically your character, your initial thoughts, your stomach, how to say. But Sagittarius is very adventurous. It can be very intense. It can be very real, right? Um, okay, I found three. Now, how do you know what element do you have? We have 12 zodiac signs, right? Let's see my chart. You can learn that by from your chart. You see, this is my chart, and from this chart we can actually see how much of an element I have in my chart and what I am missing, right? we have 12 zodiac signs, just like we have 12 months of the year. Um, and you know, those 12 signs can actually be of a four elements: fire, air, earth and water, right? And if you can see from my chart, you see sun sign, moon sign, Mercury, Venus, Mars. I mostly have fire and air element in my chart, which means I'm lacking earth and water. And because I'm lacking earth, it's very hard for me to be grounded, to slow down my mind, right? It's hard for me to sleep. So I have health issues. I like water, so sometimes it's very hard for me to understand things. But I also have something called vortex in water, right? Vortex, if we Google vortex, astrology, vortex, oh, it's actually vertex, okay, my bad, vertex, okay. I think the vertex represents life path, okay. So because I have life path in Cancer, so my life path is basically trying to understand everybody and everything, and this is how I perceive the world, right? Cancer represents understanding. Cancer also tends to hide itself in the shell, right? It's all about making connections and seeing things as a whole. The main issue with astrology is that most people only understand their sun sign, so they make countless of assumptions about yourself and about others. But when you actually understand astrology and planets and yourself, you actually need to look as a whole, right? You need to look as a whole, and this is the most important thing here. For example, I am Libra, Sun Gemini, Moon Sagittarius, Rising Mars, Mars Leo. This is air, fire element. What does that mean? Libra Sun. I tend to feel everybody. I tend to understand everybody. Let me show you this again. So let's say Libra, the interpersonal learner. The interpersonal learner is someone who learns by relating to others. I feel others, I relate to others. So if you have somebody with bad example, with, you know, dark, intensive energy, you copy that, right? You're how you are in the room. I also have Gemini Moon. I have double air element. For me, it's very hard to be in my energy sometimes, you know, because I have Sun and Moon in air, in Libra and Gemini. I also have Mars Leo, so my heart, my actions are very brave. I can be grounded for people when they need it. I can be balanced, I can be fair, right? Sagittarius, you know, very adventurous, sometimes a bit too intense, can be very realistic too. You see how many dualities I have in chart, you know. I'm air, so I tend to overthink stuff, but I'm also realistic Sagittarius. I'm Leo, you know. I like water element, but also have vertex in water, so you know, it's hard for me to understand, but at the same time I try to understand everybody, right? This is also the thing, you know, sometimes things seems as opposite as they do, right? This is because duality and because of the lack of understanding, and this is the main problem. It's impossible to understand others, and that's why there's come so many assumptions about others, right? And this is just how life is. This is the power of astrology. It allows you to understand things better and let it go and forgive people and work on yourself to become a stronger, better person, right? The big issue with astrology is also making too many assumptions about others. We have to be worried about that, right? Sometimes you just want to listen to people, right? Just listen. That's all they just listen and understand. Deep down, this is all we desire, you know, somebody to understand us, especially people who have some health issues, right? And with this, if you're some kind of a teacher, you can just, you know, you can learn about, this is your sun sign, you know, Aries, Taurus, these are your sun signs, and this is actually how you can learn how somebody can be taught properly, right? You know, for example, I'm Libra, I relate to others. If you are a Gemini, you need more creative work. If a children is Taurus, you know, they need a rhythm, melody, you know. It's like Aries learns best by actually doing something. Cancer, a visual learner, you know, it's very interesting. Virgo, Capricorn, response to relationships or patterns, numbers, and equations. Um, I also have one more, I think. Wait, let me see. Bam. Sagittarius, the naturalist. The naturalist learns by working with and experiencing nature and experimentation. Nice. Scorpio, Aquarius learns to the best when they are alone and is largely responsive to inner forces, right? It's very interesting. You know, and yeah, there are some assumptions we can always make. You know, Pisces and Sagittarius tend to drink sometime. They can be, you know, Pisces is last of 12 zodiac signs. They often have to sacrifice for new cycle. They can be very delusional, very manipulative. Aquarius, Scorpio can be very intrusive, manipulative sometimes, just like Pisces too. There are good and bad things about every sign, okay? Ascending, your character, you know, there are so many. There's also how you look, I think, from Venus, or also on Mutsu, not sure what is that exactly, but I think it's the look. There is also, let me see, also low life. Mars is about intimacy. Venus, Sun, Moon, of course, are all about low intimacy. Mercury is about your intelligence. I actually have Mercury in Scorpio. A lot of Libra too. North Node. You can learn so much from it, and you know, after so many years, it's so hard to read this, right? But once you can read it, you just need to know the basic. You know, we like to simplify things here. Just want to know your element, your sun, moon sign, rising, and Mars, basically, and maybe Venus. You know, these are the main ones. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any question, I will gladly answer them in the video. Peace.